Sudan's ongoing conflict has entered a new and troubling phase after credible reports revealed that the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, the country's powerful paramilitary group, have obtained a Chinese-made FB-10A short-range surface-to-air missile system. The revelation has sent shockwaves through defense and intelligence circles, not only because it enhances the RSF's battlefield capabilities but also because it exposes a complex and illicit network of international arms transfers that appear to violate multiple international sanctions. Sources familiar with the situation say the system's origin traces back to Chad, which purchased several FB-10A units from China in early 2025. The deal, according to insiders, was brokered with financial and logistical support from the United Arab Emirates. However, within months of the acquisition, one of the systems vanished from Chad's military inventory. What happened next now forms part of a growing mystery that ties together Africa's shadowy arms routes, Gulf state influence, and China's expanding footprint in regional defense markets. The FB-10A's sudden appearance in Sudan, far from its intended destination, is more than a logistical oddity. Analysts argue that it represents a deliberate diversion of advanced weaponry to a non-state actor, one already accused of war crimes and human rights abuses. The RSF, engaged in a brutal struggle against the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, since April 2023, now finds itself equipped with one of the most advanced short-range air defense systems in the region, a weapon that could alter the tactical equation of the war. The Chinese FB-10A is a compact, mobile air defense platform designed by the 8th Academy of the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation. It is capable of intercepting targets such as drones, helicopters, cruise missiles, and low-flying aircraft within a range of approximately 18 kilometers. The system integrates detection, tracking, and fire control components into a single vehicle, allowing it to operate independently or as part of a broader network. Its modular design and rapid deployment capability make it ideal for use by mobile and mechanized units, exactly the kind of formations favored by the RSF. Reports from open-source intelligence, OSINT, communities indicate that the FB-10A's journey to Sudan began almost immediately after its delivery to Chad. Satellite imagery and leaked documentation reviewed by several defense analysts suggest that the system was transported across the border under the guise of a logistics convoy in mid-2025. Once in Sudanese territory, it was allegedly handed over to the RSF, which has been steadily expanding its arsenal with help from foreign backers. The alleged involvement of the UAE has drawn particular scrutiny. For years, the Gulf nation has pursued strategic interests in both Sudan and Chad, supporting proxy groups and governments to secure influence across the Sahel and Horn of Africa. While the UAE officially denies direct arms transfers to sanctioned entities, multiple investigations have documented the use of intermediaries and third-party routes, often through Libya or Chad, to deliver weapons to its preferred partners. The RSF, whose leadership maintains close political and financial ties with Emirati entities, has reportedly received vehicles, ammunition, and even precision-guided munitions through such channels. If confirmed, the transfer of the FB-10A system would constitute a clear breach of United Nations arms embargoes, which prohibit the sale or delivery of advanced weaponry to Sudan's warring factions. International observers note that this episode underscores the failure of global enforcement mechanisms and the growing ability of regional actors to bypass restrictions using opaque private networks. The incident also highlights the expanding presence of Chinese defense technology in Africa, where it often ends up in volatile regions with little oversight. For the RSF, the acquisition of the FB-10A is a significant milestone in its military evolution. Initially formed from Janjaweed militias accused of atrocities during the Darfur conflict, the group has transformed into a formidable paramilitary organization capable of conducting large-scale operations. Its leader, Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, widely known as Hemedti, has sought to legitimize the RSF as a national security force while simultaneously consolidating control over key economic assets, including gold mines and trade routes. Access to modern air defense systems could provide the RSF with a critical advantage against Sudan's Air Force, which remains one of the SAF's main strengths. Until recently, the RSF's primary vulnerability lay in its limited ability to counter aerial attacks. The Sudanese military, though weakened by internal divisions and resource shortages, still maintains a fleet of combat aircraft and attack helicopters capable of striking RSF positions. The introduction of the FB-10A, alongside reports of the RSF acquiring Chinese FK-2000 systems earlier this year, could drastically reduce that gap. These SHORAD, short-range air defense, systems give the paramilitary a defensive shield previously unavailable to irregular forces, enabling them to protect command centers, logistics convoys, and frontline units from airstrikes. Defense experts warn that this shift could prolong the conflict by emboldening the RSF to maintain control over captured territories. The group's ability to contest airspace would make it far more difficult for the Sudanese armed forces to conduct aerial reconnaissance or precision bombardments. The FB-10A changes the tactical landscape, said one OSINT analyst familiar with the situation. It gives the RSF something close to parity in certain regions, at least temporarily. That's a serious development for the SAF, which has relied heavily on its air advantage. Beyond its battlefield implications, the FB-10's diversion raises uncomfortable questions about China's export controls and end-user monitoring. Although Beijing officially enforces strict regulations on arms transfers, it typically relies on the purchasing country to ensure compliance. In this case, Chad appears either unable or unwilling to account for the missing system. Critics say this points to the inherent risks of China's growing role as a defense supplier in politically unstable regions. Unlike Western governments, Beijing rarely intervenes once a sale is completed, leaving room for misuse or illegal retransfer. For regional powers, the incident has broader geopolitical ramifications. Sudan's war has already drawn in a complex web of actors, including Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Russia, each pursuing divergent interests. The presence of advanced air defense systems in RSF hands could complicate diplomatic efforts and further destabilize neighboring countries. Libya, itself fragmented by internal rivalries, has been a known transit hub for arms and mercenaries, while Chad's involvement suggests a willingness among local governments to profit from the chaos. The United Nations and several Western governments have expressed concern but stopped short of direct accusations. Analysts believe the lack of accountability stems from the difficulty of tracing arms once they cross borders in the Sahel, where porous frontiers and corruption are endemic. However, some experts warn that tolerance for such violations could set a dangerous precedent, effectively normalizing the illegal redistribution of advanced weapons to non-state actors. The FB-10A episode is part of a broader pattern that has unfolded over the past 2 years. Since the outbreak of Sudan's civil conflict, the RSF has been steadily acquiring increasingly sophisticated military technology. Drones, armored vehicles, and precision munitions, once the exclusive domain of national armies, have all found their way into RSF stockpiles. The group's logistics network stretches across multiple countries, enabling it to bypass traditional procurement channels and rely instead on private intermediaries and foreign sponsors. While international observers debate responsibility, the reality on the ground is grim. Civilians continue to bear the brunt of the violence, with thousands displaced and humanitarian aid severely restricted. The arrival of new air defense systems threatens to escalate hostilities further, as both sides adapt their tactics to counter one another's advances. The SAF may respond by intensifying its use of long-range missile strikes or relying more heavily on foreign-supplied drones, risking even greater collateral damage. What makes this situation particularly alarming is how seamlessly modern technology is now flowing into conflicts previously dominated by small arms. The FB-10's presence in Sudan symbolizes a new era of proxy warfare in which regional powers use advanced equipment to shape outcomes indirectly, maintaining plausible deniability while fueling instability. The RSF's newfound ability to shoot down aircraft could also attract attention from other insurgent movements seeking similar capabilities, creating a dangerous precedent across Africa's volatile regions. As of now, neither the Sudanese government nor Chad has officially commented on the reports, and China's foreign ministry has refrained from addressing the issue publicly. Meanwhile, social media imagery and local eyewitness accounts continue to reinforce claims that the FB-10A has been deployed in areas under RSF control. If verified, it would mark one of the most significant cases of advanced Chinese weaponry falling into non-state hands in recent years. In the coming months, attention will likely turn to how international institutions respond. The UN Security Council faces pressure to investigate the alleged diversion and impose penalties on those involved. However, with major powers divided on Sudan and broader geopolitical rivalries at play, meaningful action remains uncertain. What is clear, though, is that the FB-10's appearance in Sudan is more than just a headline. It is a warning sign of how easily the global arms trade can spiral beyond control, turning modern technology into fuel for old conflicts.